Hello everyone and welcome back to the Blackfoot Book Club and the Essential Film Reviews collection. Thank you so much for returning. We are now going to return ourselves to 2008 to In Bruges, directed by Martin McDonagh, and a film I utterly adore. It's been 15 years since London-born filmmaker Martin McDonagh released this, his debut feature-length film, and 15 years since I first watched this and didn't completely appreciate it. The single reservation I had all those years ago still stands, in that it's a film of two distinct halves, and when Ralph Fiennes arrives amid a scattergun of swear words and a terrible Cockney accent, it rather throws me out of a film that up until that point I admire and love tremendously. A decade and a half later, my admiration for this film has grown exponentially, and perhaps with the passage of time, I now better understand that Ralph Fiennes' character is deliberately and thoroughly unlikable, the horrible bad guy to our two gun-toting anti-heroes. And so, on a rewatch recently, I now place In Bruges far higher in the 4 genuine twisted masterpieces released by McDonagh to date. With his second film, and follow-up 7 Psychopaths from 2012 scheduled for another of my infamous rewatches soon, the main reason that I finally revisited his debut film here was due in the main to my unabashed love I instantly had for last year's Oscar-nominated The Banshees of Inisherin. Whilst it failed to garner a single win from its 9 nominations, I felt this unfair on the reteaming of its central stars Brendan Gleeson and Colin Farrell, and the first time they've collaborated together with director McDonagh since this film in 2008. I also wanted to rewatch and reappraise this film, as I also have more than a soft spot for the acting talents of Frances McDormand and Sam Rockwell, Oscar winners both in McDonagh's third film 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. 7 Oscar nominations and 2 wins in 2018, this genuine masterpiece currently resides at 166th on the IMDb top 250 films of all time, with Trainspotting and The Bridge on the River Kwai for company. The immediate beauty of this film is also the first readily apparent use of stark and deeply black comedy. Whilst the medieval city with its many centuries of history and canals are constantly and beautifully depicted, it's anything but the shithole described by Ray, Colin Farrell. Ordered to lay low after their last job, he and fellow hitman for hire Ken, Brendan Gleeson, arrive in the Belgian city in a busy pre-Christmas period, and whilst the senior of the two in this oddest of twisted old married couples wishes to explore their historical surroundings, his younger accomplice is agitated, on edge, and on the precipice of utter desperation and desolation. With Ken relaxed and at peace with his surroundings and taking in the splendour of a pre-Christmas Bruges, the older and senior of the two is perfectly at home in his enforced holiday from England. Ray, on the other hand, is anything but, and it isn't just the unfamiliar city or the waiting around for their next job that irks him. The boy has a devilry about him, but this is all a front for the hurt that lurks inside him, and underneath the facade that hides a deep, haunting feeling that he's in purgatory and unsure which way to turn. Conflicted, awkwardly inappropriate, at times obnoxious, racist, suicidal even, Ray is a man-child desperately spinning out of control, and without the reassurance of his older, wiser and more controlled partner, anything and everything is possible, even in a beautiful city pre the festivities of yet another joyous Christmas. Signal the entrance of his, and their, repugnant, out-of-control boss from London, and anything and everything isn't only possible, but bloodily guaranteed. Supported by the beautiful Clemence Posey as a Dutch showrunner and production assistant on a film being shot in the city, and Jordan Prentice as one of the film's actors, Carter Burwell's beautiful and at times mournful piano score and pinprick cinematography, director McDonagh wraps up all these key components together in a stunning film that I now have a newfound and thoroughly deserved appreciation of. Numerous scenes stand out, whether they be the earliest of scenic introductions to Bruges itself, or the latter half scenes of the city largely at night, the city square and the imposing bell tower, or the awkwardly black blackly funny evening with a huge mound of cocaine, alcohol, anxiety, recriminations, anger, desperation, and all to the tune and occasional backdrop of the American rock band, The Strokes. So 15 years on, I now have a very real and newfound loving appreciation for In Bruges. And here's to Martin McDonagh making it 5 absolute gems in a row with his next cinematic release. And that was In Bruges, directed by Martin McDonagh from 2008. And I'll leave you in peace and in solidarity. And I thank you so much for watching. Peace everyone.